This is your five-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com. In a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Oren Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, the virtual cuisine, which is always about California politics, with the main entree being the recall of Gavin Newsom. You know what, folks? We have quite an exciting show lined up for you today. If you're watching on podcast, which you can on Facebook Live, etc., you would see I'm wearing a Ronald Reagan tie in honor of our special guest tonight, which is one of his offspring, Michael Reagan. And for everybody out there who watches our town hall podcast on Wednesday, same tie, different shirt. I did change clothes. We have a lot we want to cover, as we always do on this show. I'm going to have my in-studio guest host in a second. But I want everybody out there, after 7:30, we're going to be addressing about ballots. So I'm going to ask you now to go grab your ballot if you can and have it in hand, because I'm going to ask you to call in with some answers to some questions I'm going to give you. And that number is 1-800-222-5222. But our almost entire first half hour is going to be taken up with a special guest. But I really would like to welcome our chief chef, the man that dreamed up the whole recall, Oren Heatley. Oren, how the hell are you tonight? Oh, Oren's not in yet. So what I'm going to do is introduce Kent. Now, I'm going to introduce Kent by saying Kent is one of the founders of the Comedy Channel, which, since Gavin Newsom is a joke, I thought would be more than appropriate to have him as a co-host tonight.
Mikey Mike, great to be here. Oren, great to be with you also.
We're trying to get Oren on the live feed right now. We have a thumbs up you would see on podcast.
Nice.
We have a sign of life of Oren, but we have a visual but no audio. But that's okay. We're used to technical problems and all kinds of things here in the recall. You know, getting started, and this is actually great for me because Oren can't speak right now. I'm giving you a moment to chime in. One of the things I want to cover that we're going to cover later on, that's why I'm excited to have Michael Reagan on tonight, is kind of the history of recalls this week. And there's an article in SF Gate about it where I actually learned some things. It's interesting because people talk today complaining about the recall process. But it's interesting because the recall process started in California, was actually originally proposed for the U.S. Constitution. It didn't make the cut. But in California, when it was, might say, reignited about 120 years later, the reason it was put in was against a big entity called Standard Railroad at the time. And today we hear people complaining about the recall process. Now that we've got it on the ballot, it's kind of the wrong thing. Well, it's interesting. It seems to me it's serving its initial purpose, which was started by liberals, because what we have today are big entities running politics, big unions, big this, big money, and the recall is about the people. Right, Oren? We still don't have Oren on audio. And I don't know what to do, so I'm going to keep talking. So understand that the recall process is working exactly as it was intended to work. It's the power of the people. It's the power of the people able to do something when a large entity or large entities get too much power. And for those out there that say it's not working as intended, I really would like them to take a look at this article in SF Gate and read up on the recall process. Also, if you're out there, again, in 7:30, we're going to want you to talk about the ballots and a lot of things going around. The process which is taking place. We get so many phone calls, Oren and I do, and there's so much misinformation out there, and we want to be clear about what is happening in the election process for the recall. Because remember, you have to vote yes. Because if you don't get out there and vote yes, and of course vote for the candidate of your choice, we're not going to get Newsom recalled. And so everybody out there, we're going to focus the half hour at 7:30, 7:35 after that break on the recall process itself. Still looking for Orrin, but I guess I'll just keep talking. Kent, are you on the air yet?
I'm on the air. I haven't got my camera up yet, but I'm here.
We have a lot we do here at Friday night at the French Laundry Kitchen. And again, everybody out there, we do a podcast. So if you want to see what we're doing on the radio, you have the ability to do it. It's been a highly fascinating week, I think, in California politics for the fact that the way Newsom's been running around, not paying much attention to California crisis, but basically about saving his own hide.
You know, it's kind of interesting, too. They're pulling out all the stops and a lot of really bad stops. They just announced yesterday that Kamala Harris, now get this, one of the most unpopular people in California. She only carried 6% of California in her own state in a presidential race. She's actually coming here to campaign for voting no, keeping Newsom in on the recall. She's coming out to campaign for Newsom. Is that nuts?
Yeah, I heard Joe Biden was supposed to come out, but he forgot.
Well, you know, what's interesting is, you know, he's pretty unpopular all the way around right now, but she always has been, and she carries a tremendous amount of baggage from some of those folks that she had kept in jail, a lot of people of color that she had kept in jail after being proven innocent up in San Francisco County and in Alameda County early on in her career. And, you know, people caught wind of this and she became highly unpopular here. And I think, you know, she may be one of the best campaign tools that we have, Mike, when she comes out and starts to spew the wonders of Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody that if you don't know my story, I got involved in politics to begin with because of Kamala Harris. Her time as Attorney General was absolutely awful, and I couldn't believe when she became senator. Like so many politicians, like Gavin, she's just about politics. He's just about politics, not about the people of California. And again, the recall process is working exactly as it's supposed to. We're going to go to an early break. We have an incredibly special guest tonight, Michael Reagan, again, talking about how the recalls, what they were intended for. We're going to take a little bit step back in time and also step forward in time and related to today. So right now, if you're near the radio, please stash the combustible, hide the small pets, because I'm going to do it. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC 790, Recall, Gavin2020.com.
You don't understand, we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us, we are the leaders. Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers.
All right, so what's new and happening over in Sonia?
Well, not a whole heck of a lot. And we've got a lot of anxious people around here wanting to get Mr. Newsom out of the office. And then we have a lot of people that are concerned about their ballots and or is their vote going to count? So we have that to contend with over here on my end. And I'm just telling everybody to hold on to those ballots, take them to the registered voting place that they're registered at, and drop it up there.
Yeah, I'm suggesting the same thing. I don't want to steal the thunder from Mike, so I don't want to talk too much about that as of yet.
Right. Yeah. Everything else seems to be going good. Weather's okay. You know,
Nice.
I'm pretty optimistic about a lot of things. I'm ready to get California back.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. How's everything over there?
Oh, the last couple of days, I had a last minute crunch for printing up about 2,000 recall brochures.
Oh, wow.
Because someone wanted to canvass the area. So I printed
Nice.
up about 2,000 of these.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I've got some too. I'm gonna have to start canvassing too. I've got some car magnets. I have 4 on one car. So I drive down the street and everybody's looking at it and waving at a couple of people, and I get a couple of honks, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. That's always good.
Yeah. Right? Yes, it's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So glad to be on the French Laundry here.
Yeah, really glad to have you on.
Yeah, I was like, I the first time I came on, it was so exciting. I was like, man, I can't wait to get back to those guys. You guys are great.
Here we are.
You guys are a riot. I love it.
Well, I'm really glad that you sent me a message. What was it? Wednesday you sent me a message?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are today.
And here we are.
And what a terrible date I am.
Day,
I ask you to be quiet, and I ask you to not be on camera. Terrible of me.
Yeah, it's funny. I want you to hear. Don't say a word. Stay off camera. Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome.
No, I'm not that bad of a person, Sam.
So what do you got plans for the weekend? Might as well talk about.
Let's see, not much. I got definitely plenty of recall work to do.
Right.
That's always a given.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to put on my boogie shoes, I think, tonight. I gotta go do some exercises. I think I'm gonna have to hit the dance floor a little bit.
Well, here's the show back on again.
The French Laundry with Executive Chef Owen Heatley and Maitre D' Mike Nether.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant about California politics, where the main entree is recallgavin2020.com. We went to an early break because I'm especially honored to have a guest on tonight that represents not only, I'm going to say, conservative politics, although we're technically nonpartisan, but really a lot of what California, as people remember California, I think we're trying to get at least partially back to. Kent, why don't you introduce our guest to us?
You got it. This is a guy who's been a good friend for a long time, but a great friend to America for much, much longer, all of his life, actually, he and his entire family. Michael Reagan, great to have you with us.
Hey, it's good to be with you. And it's interesting because I was just thinking, I started my radio talk show career at KABC back in the 1980s. And 26 years later, I said, that's it, walked away, and I've been doing a lot of things ever since. So it's like old home week for me being on KABC. It's good to be with you.
Well, it's actually the reason we had you back on. We need the ratings back up, Michael. So hang with us for about 2 weeks.
And you can see what the station is since you left.
Michael,
if they would have hired the guys that they never brought on years ago, they would have those ratings. But they didn't do that.
Michael, you're a legend, and you really do. When I think about hip conservatism, I think of you. You're somebody who has really kind of paved the way to make conservatism hip and fun and interesting. And you have a family that has served this country like no other. And you were raised here, of course. Your father, governor here, a great governor, and I believe the greatest president we've ever had. What was it like going back into the 60s, 70s, and 80s in California? And I want to work our way through kind of what happened to this place and how we fix it.
Well, it was the Golden State because of the opportunities that were here. I mean, that was what's great about California. It wasn't, it was the sunshine, it was the beaches and all that, but it really was about the opportunities that were here for people who came to California. And it was a great state to, in fact, be in. And I look at it today and I'm just crushed. The homeless population that's out there. I mean, the people who have left the state of California because of the government and because of homelessness and all the other things. And I'm saddened by a state that I grew up in. I'm born and raised California. And there's so many of us that remember those days where it was safe to go out in the streets. It was safe to go do things. Now it's not safe. I mean, my son, who lives in Sherman Oaks with his wife and my 5-year-old and 3-year-old granddaughters, can't walk around the block because of needles on the block. There was a guy with a knife a block over today that was arrested by the police in Sherman Oaks. I mean, it's gotten to a point where he's even saying, "What do I do?" And I tell you, I think about. I said, "Gosh, if I'm running for governor, I'm saying to people, how many grandparents are watching their own children and grandchildren leave this state because they don't feel safe in it anymore?" And that's exactly what's going on. It scares me to death when my kids talk about leaving the state and going somewhere else where they feel safe, because they don't feel safe in California any longer.
I think
And
to understand
that's
the
gotta
problems,
change.
and to understand the problems that we have now, you have to almost kind of look back and go into in the 70s and 80s and 90s and where this thing started to turn. And I'd love to get your take on that, because there were quite a few dominoes that fell.
I think it started to turn. Literally, the last recall election we had, where we put Arnold Schwarzenegger in, thinking he was going to be the Jesus Christ superstar to the Republican Party, and he was the beginning of the end of the Republican Party. He got beat a couple of times, went completely left, went nuts out there, and I thought to myself, "Well, that was a great recall. That worked out well for Californians." And it really is. And the other side of the coin is the fact that we haven't built the party. The problem with the Republican Party in California and across the nation is we are king builders. We look at the party from the top down. Democrats are smarter than we are, because they look at the party from the bottom up. They say, hey, listen, if we don't get the governorship or the presidency, can we take over the mayorship? Can we take over the city council? Can we take over the school board? Can we take over the board of supervisors? And so when they're working the lower echelon of politics, we're looking at governors, we're looking at presidents, and they're thinking to themselves, if we own everything else, it's great. If we accidentally win the governorship and the presidency, my God, it's hallelujah, baby. And that's exactly what they've done. And the Republican Party for years has done that. They have been king builders. They look at the top of the ticket. They don't look at the bottom of the ticket. And so we're where we are today. We have a 2/3 majority in the state Senate. We have a 2/3 majority in the state assembly by the Democrats. So they're basically, if we elect Larry Elder or someone else, the Republican Party becomes governor of the state. The fact of the matter, he could sit there and veto the bills coming at him or her, but they'll override the vetoes because they have a 2/3 majority. So it's going to have to be done by executive order. This is what's wrong with the Republican Party. It's been wrong like that for a long time because they lack leadership. Republicans need an enemy in order to coalesce together. Without an enemy, they fall apart. Right now, the enemy is the governor of the state of California, Gavin Newsom. But put Gavin Newsom somewhere, they fall apart. They can't get together in a phone booth.
Michael, this is Mike Netter. As one of the leaders of the recall, you make a valid point here. And I want to say that one of the things we've done, and it's kind of sad, and I say this all the time, as someone who just hadn't been active in politics. Orrin and I had no role in politics a year and a half ago, that the people of California, and by the way, it's not only Republicans, as you know, it's actually a lot of Democrats and independents, but it seems to be up to the grassroots to kind of take control of this. Does this surprise you that this has happened? Or do you think people have just had enough? Or did you see this day coming? Or did it happen a long time ago and I just wasn't cognizant of it?
There was grassroots that elected my father back in the 1960s. It was the grassroots because the state was falling absolutely apart. They were spending $1 million a day more than what it was bringing in. And it was going to hell in a handbasket. And my father came along. He had the hierarchy of the Republican Party not for him. It was the grassroots. It was crossover voters, independents that voted for my dad. And the rest is absolute history. And that's what we have to do. You have to reach out and be able to reach out and touch people who may not agree with you on some issues, but agree with you on enough issues to vote for you. My father was elected governor and president, not by Republicans. He was voted governor and president by independents and Democrats who switched over to him. And they will tell you that they disapproved of his politics, but they trusted him. And what's happened to the Republican Party is they've lost the trust of the people, and they've got to regain the trust of the people. And then maybe the RNC will wake up one day and say, California is a place we should really think about other than going there, getting paychecks and leaving.
Yeah, it's actually been very surprising when Orrin and I started the recall, how we just, frankly, we've been, now people, of course, are jumping on the bandwagon, but it has been the independents, Democrats, and of course, the Republican grassroots that we did this on our own. That's why we did it for so little dollars per signature. And it's interesting when you hear you talk about your dad, because he was so popular. I mean, it was amazing in the day to me how popular he was, just as it's almost amazing to me now how unpopular Gavin is. I want to bring in Orrin Heatley, if I can, who's finally found a way to make a connection. Hi, Orrin.
I'm happy to be here, and it's such an honor to have you with us tonight, Mr. Reagan. God bless you and your family for everything that you guys have done. I just want to chime into something that I heard as I was logging in, that you said the Republican Party lacks leadership in California, and I can't.
Did we lose Orrin?
I think we lost Orrin. I think he was going to say he can't agree more. I'm going to fill in his words because I know him that
I'm right here. Can you hear me, guys?
Now we can.
We got you back.
Yeah.
Do you have a cable repairman that looks like Gavin, Orrin?
I may. You know what? Big Tech has come out loud and proud for Gavin, and they said they were going to do everything that they could to help Gavin. And I swear to God, they put gremlins in all my systems. But I'll tell you what, folks, I'm sitting up here in beautiful Folsom, California. And as I'm sitting out here in my makeshift studio in my backyard, ashes are falling on me and the computer so much that I have to keep blowing it off. It's like a layer of dust that just keeps landing from the fires that are surrounding our town up here. It's just incredible. California.
What town is it?
On fire. Well, I'm up in Folsom, but Sly Park. And the region up here along Highway 50 is burning, heading up the hill.
Well, Orrin, you have nothing to fear because Gavin Newsom has said he is going to spend billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, he didn't say what he was going to spend it on, but he said that and fires in the same thing. So
he's only using that money to fan the flames.
But the important thing is we have to start really reaching out and what's our message? Other than get rid of Gavin Newsom, what's our message? A message that'll last and be there. And where's that leader who's going to stand up? You know, one of the gentlemen running for governor on the Republican side this time around, you know, actually told me the last time around that he didn't need me out there campaigning. He didn't want really the endorsement because I didn't need to be used because I was a Reagan and I was a Republican. He already had the Republican vote locked up. And I just went, okay. I mean, that's the attitude you've got.
Wow, I want to jump in here, Michael, because what we found in our research in doing this, that the reality is not only have the Republican Party lost a tremendous amount of people, but even the last gubernatorial election, maybe only 70% of the Republicans even voted.
Well, I was trying to stay home.
I want to
stay home by the man that was running against it, Gavin Newsom.
That's incredibly short-sighted, Michael. That is incredibly short-sighted on his part. As a matter of fact, I think that candidate was just served papers during a debate.
I saw that.
because he's being sued by his campaign manager for that campaign where he neglected to pay them. So, you know,
I offered to do a robocall. My family, let me tell you, my daughter, my wife, and I went to an event, a fundraiser event down Newport Beach. We have not gone as a family to anybody's fundraiser since my dad. All right. And we did that because we wanted to see a Republican win the governorship. And then to be told that we don't need you because you're seen as a Republican and you won't help us at all because we've got the Republican Party locked up. I just went, this is the new Republican Party. We don't need anybody named Reagan in it at all to go out and speak and help. I offered to be a surrogate speaker, offered to sign letters, do robocalls to no avail.
And you know, Michael, that's getting back to, you know, how we started this conversation. I've always looked at you as the hip edge of the Republican Party, and that's what we've got to bring back here. A California Republican is much different than a Mitch McConnell or a whoever, fill in the blank rhino. A California Republican is much different. And, Reagan embodied that, and you embodied that. And that's something we've got to bring back into the party.
And you're right, but they've got to also sit there and listen. What happens with me is, because my last name's Reagan, even with Trump, the reality is they want my name because they want to pretend that they have the Ronald Reagan's ghost supporting them for something. But they don't want to sit down with me and get the knowledge that I have from how many years sitting with my dad and being there on the campaign trail and talking to him, whatever. I'm the guy that fired Paul Manafort and Roger Stone. I knew those guys back and forth. I told Donald Trump, if you hire those people, you will rue the day that you hired those people, because I'm the guy who fired them from my dad's campaign.
And let me tell you something else.
And he hired him.
Again, your dad's got the mega name, and you have carried that tradition on. I've taken you around places. I took you to Tennessee here a while back. And when Michael Reagan hits the podium, the room is rocking. I mean, his dad was an amazing, heartful speaker. Michael, you really rock the room. I mean, you bring them to their feet, and we need to have guys like you out there working it with us.
Listen, I'm hoping this thing goes through, and what have you, and I hope we get rid of Gavin Newsom. But we've got to think about the next election. We've got to start building the party up from the bottom again. We need to make sure we're electing, Republicans to the state Senate, to the state assembly, to the school boards, to be supervisors, to be councilmen, whatever, and mayors. We need to build this party from the ground up, and we need to really find what is that message that we want to convey to the American people, the people of the state of California. Is that, something? I like that. I'm going to get behind them, like my father. The Time for Choosing speech he gave back in 1964. He rang the bell, and people showed up. We need to ring the bell again and have people show up.
Absolutely
Michael,
agree.
If I could chime in, this is Orrin Heatley again, and I just want to give you a peek under the tent as to what we have going on for phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Removing the governor of California is an important step that we all have to take, okay? But it's only the first step. As I said before, you slay the village dragon, you win the hearts and minds of the villagers, and you take that momentum and you begin to steer the great state of California in the right direction again. It's no question that these people have taken us off course, and they're steering us into the rocks. It's up to people like you and Kent, Mike, myself, and other people on this team to steer California back out of the rocks into clear water, where we are in the right direction again. And we are going to return California. We're going to begin to rebuild California from the ground up, and we're going to return California back to the fundamentals this nation was built upon. And that's a government that's representative of the people, by the people, for the people, that's of the people. We're going to use the powers that we have to bring public initiatives to the table. We're going to bring water bills, water proposals for the safe storage and distribution of water, desalination plants, and things like that, school choice, things like that. Candidates that we support, that we know are going to steer California in the right direction. We're not done here. This is only the first step in the process, and we're going to continue to rebuild California from the ground up.
Hey, listen, I love it. And again, if you got candidates or whatever, do a candidate forum. I will sit down with these people and talk to them. And the best thing they can do is they're going to run. They want to know about Ronald Reagan. Just listen to his speeches. Listen to his speeches, because Ronald Reagan spoke to us in parables. Really listen to him. Told us stories. And we can really relate to those things. You can listen to a Ronald Reagan speech today, and it will affect you today as it affected you when he gave it back in whatever year he might have given it. but I'd love to sit down with candidates. Don't look at me and say, gee, I want an endorsement. I don't charge. I don't want any money. I just want to help. And if you want me there to sit there and talk to the candidates and have them do a Q&A with me just to get knowledge, I'm there. But I keep on getting candidates who just want my name and don't want the knowledge.
Let me tell you something. Michael is a wealth of knowledge and also relationships. But this is a guy that knows more about California politics and national politics than darn near anybody. And again, he comes at it with an absolutely amazing energy.
Kent, let me just say, let's clarify which Michael you're talking about, because Michael Reagan.
Michael Reagan.
Michael Reagan is a wealth of knowledge, and Michael Netter is a wealth of useless knowledge, but we all love him.
We do love him, and both of them with crazy energy.
But
we share the same first name.
Our mothers named us correctly. They named us Michael because when our moms looked at us, they said, "He who is like God," and named us both Michael. What can I tell you?
Well, there you go. And I want to thank you so much for being on today. You know what? We're going to take you up on that offer because we're trying to, as I started at the beginning of the show, unite the old and the new and the in-between. Look, at the end of the day, we said this before, we don't give a damn what political party you are. We have the same values a lot of the time. People have left the Republican Party. Can we just take our damn state back and keep taking it back brick by brick and block by block? Sir, thank you so much for being on our show today. We really appreciate it. We will be back in touch and look forward to having further conversations.
Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, everybody, it's time to roll. Remember, next, what we want you to do, I want you to grab your ballot. And the next section we're going to do, we have a few callers already, but I want you to grab your ballot and we're going to be talking about what you have in your hand at 1-800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. So walk away from your radio, get your ballot because I'm going to do it. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry. It's KABC Recall. Gavin2020.com. Take back our state. Stay tuned.
You said we can't be super spreading.
It wasn't me.
So I missed my brother's wedding.
It wasn't me. AM 790.
All right, you're getting your dance in early tonight, Sonia.
Get it in. I was about to do the Roger Rabbit, the RoboCop, all the great dances from the 90s.
Nice.
What a treat it is to have Michael Reagan on.
Oh my gosh, and how right he is. Actually, both of you guys are. It's a lack of trust and a lack of leadership with the Republican Party.
That's right.
I couldn't agree more.
And it's no fault of their own. I mean, I don't know. They're working, doing the best that they know how to with what they know, but I think they're working off of, an old playbook.
Yeah, they're riding a wave of some sort. I can agree with that. And
well, that wave is washed up on shore, and at some point you got to get off.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to disparage anybody, in the Republican Party other than that, there is a new coming. And like I've told them, you better get on board or get off the tracks because this thing's coming and you can either benefit from it or you can get rolled over by it.
Yeah.
Well, I think when the people started waking up, I think that started changing a lot of things. When you only have one faction of people that think that they're awake and everybody else is relying on their decision, it just kind of seems to go that way. But now that everyone's awake, it's a whole different momentum. It's a whole different energy. It's a whole different playbook now.
Well, some people
I hate to use the connotation wake and awoke and all that bullshit, but
there's nothing else you can call it.
When you unpeel an onion, you can't put that back. You can't unsee it. It is what it is. You take the layers off and you get to the ripe fruit that's underneath. And that's where we are now. People are unpeeling the onion. They're pulling back the layers and they're realizing just, what we've been dealing with.
At what point in time, Warren, do you think people started waking up? Oh, okay. Peeling off the onion. Sorry. I like onions. So that phrase.
But when did they start
think
crying to peel that
months,
back?
About 6 to 8 months into Gavin Newsom's first term, his first year, I think they started to see what he was about and what he was pushing towards, what his agenda was. And when he rolled back the death penalty and he, disenfranchised all of those voters who had voted for that, they voted twice for that.
Right.
And I don't care where you fit in the spectrum as far as your ideology for the death penalty or not. I have my own personal views on it, and I may not be as favorable towards it as some people may think I am. But what I am absolutely against is a tyrant who goes into office and with a unilateral strike of his pen, overrules the will of the people they serve.
Right.
Exactly.
Since when did the people of California become the underdog?
Yeah.
Right.
We're not going to belly up to this governor, and we're not going to let him roll ramshot over us like he's been trying to do.
Now, what about all the people that he's been able to seem like to connect with and make him feel so fearful that anybody that doesn't think like him or how they want them to think, they're absolutely racist, they're wrong, and even though their liberties and freedoms are taken away, they seem to think it's okay, and they really do think that he's doing the right thing. You'll hear him say, "Oh, he's doing the best for us." I mean, how does that happen?
Here's the difference between Gavin Newsom and Orrin Heatley.
Orange should be there.
Keep it short, Orrin. We're going to go back on in a minute.
Gavin Newsom is a sheep herder.
Nah.
I am a sheepdog.
Nice.
And I protect the herd. So
I like it.
And I totally understand because I protect the herd as well, as you know, Orrin.
Absolutely, Tim. Absolutely. You are a warrior of grand scale, my friend.
Nice. I like that. Well, I got to keep it short. I dive into another question, but I guess we're going to go back on.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with Executive Chef Orrin Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant. We're going to be serving up some ballot talk here. We've got a short segment this time. But I want to talk about a couple things. We're going to get to Phil in a second. I want everybody to call in and tell us who's the first candidate on your ballot. And the reason I want everybody to understand a couple things about ballots, and God bless us all for paying attention to the ballots, because part of the problem has been is that we weren't paying attention to the election process till we felt things are going wrong. Now, there's a lot of videos and a lot of information out there, some of it right. There's stuff going on. After the next break, we're going to have Orrin talk about something that we discovered. We'll get to that. But I want to kill a misnomer that's out there. The misnomer that's out there that you can see the yes through the hole isn't true. And that person that put out that video, I suppose if you pry the envelope open, you can. But what you see through the hole, it says, do this. And I have my ballot at home, and I want to officially say I've harvested my first ballot because Kent just handed me his in the studio, right, Kent? Do I have your authority to talk about your ballot?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we just opened it in the studio. I just got it in the mail.
That's right. And the reason I want you to call in at 1-800-222-5222 with your ballot in hand, I want you to tell me where certain candidates appear, because I'm doing this to make a point. And this is for LA County or any other county that you have. But understand there's a lot of right stuff that's going on that's a little bit weird. But we have to encourage people to vote yes. Orrin, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Well, I want to get to your story after the break of what we found. Because, again, there's a lot of videos and a lot of things going on. A lot of it isn't organized conspiracy. It's organized chaos. But, Orrin, don't you agree we have to make sure that people get out there, vote, and vote yes?
You know, Mike, there's a lot of information that's going out there right now that are concerning to a lot of people, and for good reason. Okay, folks, you should question authority. You should question what's going on around you, but look at it with an open mind and a thoughtful eye, and just know that, you know, we had Mark Moiser on last week or during our town hall, and Mark explained, you know, there are a slew of election code attorneys out there that are closely monitoring activities in each and every county. And it's not voter fraud that lose our elections. It's not voter fraud. It's voter apathy that is the most dangerous aspect of our elector. Do you disagree?
No, and I'm going to say something really that this is how, and again, I understand everybody's concern and you should question. That's part of the process. But literally on the way into the studio tonight, I had a call from a great Fresno volunteer who said that a friend of hers cousins is associated with the Republican Party, says, oh, you can print out a blank sheet of paper and sign your name to it with your vote on and send it in. That's absolutely not true. And I've got to tell you, everybody out there, what I'm going to say is this. To back up Oren's point, you have to vote. You have to get your ballot in. There are things wrong with the process, but spend more time getting people to vote yes. I want to jump to Phil from Rancho Cucamonga, who says he got 6 ballots at his buddy's home. Phil, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, one of my buddies called me and it was telling me he got 6 ballots. And I was like, what? And he said he got 2 ballots in he and his wife's name. He got 2 ballots in variations of his wife's name. And then he got 2 ballots in the previous homeowner's name. And he actually sent me a photo of all 6 of them lined up. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if this is an anomaly or other people experiencing this, but it's a little disheartening.
Well, Phil, what a lot of that is, first off, here's what happens sometimes. The anomaly is that sometimes people change their names or misspell them, and people move and they don't clean up their voter rolls. Now, because your buddy is honest, he's not turning those ballots in. Make sense?
No,
but
no, he's not.
The problem is, and this is where Election Integrity Project has been trying for years, is keep the voter rolls cleaned up. I want to stress that the voter rolls are not the tightest of things, but I don't, look, whether I always say, Phil, whether it's inept or evil, the net effect's the same, right? What's evil?
Can I ask you one other question as we go? I have another question for you.
Yes, sir.
When this is all said and done, I pray to God that you guys get a national campaign for term limits. I hope that you open your restaurant back up and you start pushing that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, God bless you, man. I think, and we have lots of other ideas to make elections and elected office fairer. Phil, I really appreciate that. We're going to roll to a break here, but tell your buddy to make sure that he helps keep those voter rolls clean. And for everybody out there, Phil, you're going to vote yes, right? And you're going to tell everybody else to vote yes. It sounds like we've lost.
Oh, yes. Everyone in my household is voting yes. Trust me.
Right. We got orange shown to ballot. Listen, we're going to roll to break, right, Wayman? Okay. We're going to come back. We're a little bit long with Michael Reagan there, and rightfully so. Again, I want you to call in at 1-800-222-5222. We're going to answer your questions about the ballot, and I'm going to ask you some questions. I want you to go find your ballot, because remember, it's Friday night at the French Laundry. We need to vote yes. KABC. Go get your ballot. Call 1-800-222-5222. We need to talk to you.
Friday nights at the French Laundry.
Hey.
Shared up and down California and coast to coast. I've been sharing all across the board as the guys have been talking on the radio.
Now clearing out of lanes, but
absolutely
have been shut down
from the Canadian border to the Mexican border, from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic.
Whether you like it or not. So something interesting is going on with these ballots and how things are rolling out. So I got my Sampa ballot first. I got my real ballot 2nd. And just today, I got the candidate statements. It was a little backwards, don't you think?
You know what? Yeah, absolutely. But as far as this goes, I'm looking at the Secretary of State, California gubernatorial.
Yeah, that's what I got today.
Yep, we got our ballots out earlier. Whether or not they strategized that out because they didn't want this coming ahead of the ballots. Our argument to recall this governor and his lack of an argument to fight the recall. What a pathetic argument against the recall. His best argument against the recall is that Orrin Heatley is a national Republican and a Trump supporter. Don't recall me because the people who did this recall are Trump supporters.
Wow.
Okay, Governor.
That's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Our governor is focused on our state's economic recovery. Yeah, we all are, Gov. We all are. And,
we're back on.
I just that's why he passed $100 billion here, 600 direct relief. $600, folks. You get $600 in your pocket if you vote for me.
Show where we're talking about ballots.
Anyway, we're back on. Yeah.
At 1-800-222-5222 with your ballot in hand. And I'm doing that for a couple reasons because, one, most of you better know where your ballot is. You're getting lots of information. You're getting a sample ballot. You're getting a book. Go find your actual ballot because I've got a question for you. Before we get to some callers that we have calling in, I'd like to talk about what Orrin and I, first off, I want to be clear, Orrin and I get a lot of calls and we get a lot of films and we try to look into as much as we can. We are not the know-it-all conquerors of everything, but we're here to clear up a lot of misnomers. And Orrin, do you want to talk about the story this week that we had, that we uncovered?
You know what? I would love to. There was a story in Torrance where the Torrance PD responded to a 7-Eleven, and they ended up contacting a subject in the parking lot who I believe he was passed out at the wheel or passed out in his car. Anyway, they ended up arresting this person for possession of a firearm, a felon in possession of a firearm, methamphetamine, Xanax, and a slew of other illegal criminal activity. And he also had with him mail that he had stolen. As many of these tweakers will do is they'll go around and they'll steal mail and they'll take people's identities and they'll take credit cards out in their name. And that's why people need to watch their credit or freeze their credit, et cetera, to protect yourselves. But this guy is no different than any of the others. The only thing significant about this one arrest that's different than all the others is this numbskull had a stack of recall ballots, of special election ballots, voter ballots in his possession. And we're talking to the Torrance police, and we're going to ask that they prosecute this as voter fraud because, and mail theft and all that good stuff. We're going to also talk to the U.S. Postmaster General and see if, they're going to prosecute it. But fact is, folks, he had other mail in his possession. He also has a history of identity theft and other things that are not associated with mail fraud. But there was a big to-do about this case because the Torrance Police Department posted pictures of the stack of ballots that he had in his possession. That doesn't mean that there is a widespread concerted effort to go around and steal ballots. We need everybody to make sure if you haven't gotten your ballot, you can track your ballot. You can go online, go to your registrar's office, and you can see if the ballot's been sent to you, if it's been delivered, and you can determine whether or not you've actually cast a vote. So, Mike, you might know a little bit more about that information.
Yeah, I do. And I want to stress a couple things here. Again, it's meth heads manipulating mail, not Democrats doing dumb things, okay? So I'm going to tell everybody out there a couple different things before we get to these callers. One, there is a track your ballot, but I'm also highly recommending that you not use a ballot drop box. I said early on in the petition, treat a petition, remember that, Oren, like it's currency, right? Treat your ballot like it's something important.
Hey, let all the Democrats use the drop box.
Yeah, exactly. Now, also, the Secretary of State website, for most counties, we get a lot of calls, and I'm going to get to a lot of callers finally up here. How do I vote? I'm like, how does democracy even function? Go to the Secretary of State website. You can go there, find the voting place, and I'm going to do something that Woody Allen said is 80% success. Show up. Okay? Show up. Don't worry about the machines. Don't put it in the mailbox.
You just lost all credibility with our listeners, Mike.
With Woody Allen?
I mean, it just went out the door. I'm sorry.
I had to throw that out. 80% of success is showing up. All right.
Who is the Secretary of State, Mike?
What?
Who is the Secretary of State?
Shirley Weber.
Is Shirley Weber being sued?
Yes.
We're going to talk about that at the.
We're going to talk about that afterwards. What I'm trying to encourage people to do is get knowledge to turn this in. We're going to talk about that lawsuit later in the show. What right now,
stay tuned, folks.
I want people to do is make sure that you know how to vote. I'm going to go to a couple callers right now. Carolyn from Calabasas, you have a question about the ballot.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So are you saying that we should just vote in person rather than drop it off?
I would.
Okay, because my husband on the back on the envelope accidentally put his birthday and not the date.
So I would go in and make sure your vote counts 100% and doesn't get disqualified by going into a polling place. You don't need to take the ballot, and you can go into a polling place and vote.
Okay. But can I take his ballot to the polling place or no?
I believe you can. What county are you in? You're in
LA.
LA. I believe you can, but look it up.
The recommendation would be to contact your local.
That's what I was just going to say. Let's everybody look it up. Get your local board of registers. Each county has different rules, and all ballots aren't the same, so they're barcoded. So your husband's ballot may have a slightly different order than your ballot does, for example.
Right. But I mean, like, if I go and vote in person, because after the last election, he's a little, over it. But so he was going to do the mail-in, and then he did the wrong date. Hey, the other thing I wanted to bring up, did you see on the argument part in the on the whatever the booklet was from Newsom, like the bottom, it was like, don't sign don't put your name. It was like this strange, threat at the last paragraph.
Oren, you want to take that or me? That was the original argument.
Takes that, but yeah, you're right, Mike. That was a veiled threat, and this governor is all about intimidation and threat. He's a mafia mob boss controlled by the union mafia, and okay, Mike, go ahead. I'm going to get off on a
we've only got a minute left here. Listen, that veiled threat was exactly what he put on the top of the petition that they have to publish by law. Listen, Carolyn, whatever you do, or Karen, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but we're getting too excited here. Make sure your vote counts. Your husband might be over it, but the state needs his vote. Everybody out there, do what you have to do. Go to the SOS website, look on the back of your envelope, make sure that you know where to vote and how to vote. Look, don't trust it in a mailbox where somebody can break in. It's not organized Democrats. Go vote.
Right.
That's what I'm encouraging people to do.
Okay.
We've got callers backed up here. We're gonna go ahead and we got to roll, I think, pretty soon. We're gonna get to Sally, Magdalena, Aaron, and another caller coming in a second and talk about the suit which has been filed in federal court against the recall. All that's coming after 8 o'clock. In the meantime, grab your ballot. Look at the order that you're balloting. That's one of the questions I have for you, where specific candidates are. All ballots are not the same. You cannot see through the hole. Get over a lot of the myths that you hear out there. And you cannot sign a blank sheet of paper and turn it in as a ballot. Please help us. Do not spread rumors. What you've got to do is this. Make sure you vote and make sure you stay tuned to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, because we got a lot more to go on KABC 790, streaming all over California. Let's recall this governor. You have to vote and vote yes.
Southern California's undisputed.
So I'm wheelchair bound, and I'm going to roll my wheelchair and vote in person.
So you're saying use the machines then? We can trust the machines?
Well, I think it's a little more safe, and they're accountable if there's any errors or mistakes.
Well, we have to vote, and the only way those votes are tallied are through the machines right now. Okay, we all agree the machines are suspect, but it's what we have in place right here, right now. And the fact is, Sonia, if the Democrats were as confident as we think they should be in their fraudulent machines, they wouldn't be posing as strong of an opposition or a counter argument as they are right now. This governor is afraid, and he's afraid for a lot of reasons. And I think that they're not confident in their ability to pull this off with, the level of fraud that may take place or what have you, or the number of eyes that are looking on as this vote is cast. I think that they've shown their hand, and that we're looking for any indiscrepancies as we go forward. And there's some traps that are going to be laid, I'm sure, that are going to, the grand jury and the FBI and Homeland Security are looking into the Sacramento Registrar's office as we speak.
Okay, good.
And so the role for the Election Integrity Project, you want to talk a little bit about that, Oren, or?
I'll let you.
Oh, so the Election Integrity Project, well, checks the integrity of our elections. In the election process.
Linda Payne and her group, you can go to eip-ca.com.
Yes.
eip-ca.com, and you can volunteer to be a poll watcher. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or what have you, but you can volunteer to become a poll watcher. And the more eyes we have on this process, the less likely it is for them to cheat. Now, it's just like sitting around a poker table. Once you realize you have a cheater at the table, everybody's watching their hand.
Yep. And yet, that's another reason why I'm going to go in on the 14th, because if they call the election 8 minutes after, there's something not right.
That ain't going to happen. Yep. Hey, Tim, I see some comments coming through. Are there any?
So someone says, can I bring my camera? LOL. So you can take a picture of your own ballot after you fill it out, but don't be taking pictures all around inside the election room.
Leave that to Project Veritas.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's see if there's.
And we are fans of Project Veritas. So
now there's a great percentage of people that are under the impression that they definitely caution on mailing their ballots in, but they're holding on to them to drop them off there. So what do we say to those people? Because I think there's a large percentage. How are we going to get the message out for them to actually go to the polling place and vote on that?
Tim, I don't know. Can you read Shar Carter's comment real quick?
See here.
Hello, Shar, by the way. Glad that you're joining in. happy to have you. And I'm looking at your comment.
So the safest way to
safest...
hand in your ballot is to walk it into your ROV, Register of Voters office, on September 14th. If you can't, then walk it into your local precinct on September 14th. Don't vote early.
Right.
But we want everybody
folks.
to vote.
This
like,
is your 5-star spot for
we want
smorgasbord
everybody
of
to cast their
from
vote
RecallGavin2020.com,
whether it's by mail or not.
in a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Owen Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of Friday Nights at the French Laundry, the virtual restaurant, which is about California politics, with the main entree being the recall of Gavin Newsom. Look, if you listen during the breaks and you're not watching our podcast, which you should, you'll hear Orange chatting, Sonia Green on tonight, who runs a great group in Orange County. Sometimes you hear the traffic report, and I want to give you my traffic report to get started, Oren. Is that okay with you?
Yes, of course.
I'm going to tell you why. Because coming into the studio tonight, I'm going down 10 West in the Los Angeles area. And right before Alameda, I noticed traffic slowing down. This is not even an embellishment, which is kind of unusual for going west that time of day on a Friday night. That's because the bridge above it, literally, and this is not something that was planned, had two huge RecallGavin2020.com banners up and two big signs voting yes strung on the walk bridge over the overpass. I got to tell you, it warmed my heart.
Hold on. I'll stop right there. I'll stop. We take absolutely no credit for what was done. We had nothing to do with it, folks. That was done spontaneously by individual supporters of the recall campaign. Although we appreciate their effort, we don't condone it.
Lauren, it's an illegal spot and it has our disclaimer on it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying.
Calm down. Back in the kitchen with you, boy.
I'll tell you what. If we caused a traffic jam, folks, we didn't do it. But God bless those folks out there spreading the word and doing the Lord's work.
Well, you know, Warren, there's a rumor running around that the Democrats put it up, so one of the main radio hosts might have gotten into a small collision on the way in and been late. But that's just a rumor. Okay.
There's always an element of truth in rumor and humor.
Look, we're going to go to some callers here in a second. Some have been on hold for a bit there. But Kent is a typical Californian.
Really?
Yes.
Via Tennessee,
because what did you just do when you came in the studio?
Grabbed a bottle of water?
Outside of that, you opened your ballot.
I did.
You have not opened your ballot.
That's right.
Now,
I brought it in from the car to show you, and I opened it, Mike, in your presence.
That's right. Now, the reason I'm saying that, before we get to the callers that are here, many of the questions people have, it's because they haven't yet opened their ballot. Now, everybody who's been working out there really hard for like the last 18 months, it's kind of like, maybe a big check was coming. You guys should be opening your ballots and taking a look at them. I want you to open them and call this. And I want you to describe the parts of your ballot that you have, Kent.
All right, I've got it right here in front of me. But first, when you said treat it like a check, it is like a check. When you think if we can turn this state around, what that means to you economically, as an individual, as a voter, it is like a check. That is actual currency in there. You're going to save on taxes. You're going to get a state that you can be proud of again. We're going to get law enforcement back. We're going to get better schools. So that ballot is worth its weight in gold. So we open up the ballot. I think the first thing, there are two elements. One, there was the ballot, but there's also this booklet called the official sample ballot, which is, it's got these candidate statements in it, which I just can't get over. I can't get over it. Now, I know you guys, as the proponents, got to put a statement in talking about why you believe he should be recalled. And listen, there's no secret on why he should be recalled. And thank God for you guys making this a very nonpartisan thing. This is not a Republican thing. This is not a Democrat thing. You have a lot of great, wonderful Democrats that are participating in this, some great Republicans and some great independents. Getting back to this statement, you guys put a reason in there. The governor answers with nonsense. And then on the back, he gets to put his own other statement in. Mike, have we got time for me to do it just a minute on this?
You got time for 1 minute.
All right.
Because I got a lot of backing up it into me.
I'm just going to take a couple of lines from the governor's statement, defending himself. One of the lines is, now California is making a comeback. Well, what's it making a comeback from? What's it making a comeback from? We have horrible schools. We have the highest taxes in the country, both sales taxes and income taxes. We have the biggest crime rate. We have some of the there's no state with problems like ours, and we have a beautiful state. But all of these problems, and they all happened on his watch. And then he goes into, we're investing in solutions for our most pressing challenges: homelessness, education, infrastructure, and wildfires. He leaves out crime. This happened on his watch. Think about what happened in San Francisco when he was mayor for 2 terms. The place went from literally a wonderful place. We had studios up there, wonderful place, to horrible what it is now, with poop maps and poop on the street and needles and crime and homelessness and all that stuff. He gets to be lieutenant governor. Same thing. Look at the state, the decline. Take a look at whether it's been him as governor. These are the things that happened on his watch. That's why this ballot is highly important for you to open, understand how to vote, and make sure you get it turned in.
And let me stress something here. Each county, again, is different. They have to mix up the ballots. That's why when I go to Norman next, and I'm going to get to Norma and Sally and Magdalene here in a second, understand each county is different. When you get your voter information guide, your sample is different. Look for your ballot. And before I even roll to callers, because what I'm here is an information pipeline tonight.
You're going to roll to Oren.
I'm going to roll to Oren, but I want to answer a question, Oren.
Okay.
The question I want to answer is, because we have one on our podcast feed where people have this whole crisis that was created about printing ballots at home. The way, if you print a ballot at home, it's because you have a disability and can't leave the house. And you have to apply for a special barcode and signature verification to do that. That's what this whole thing was about.
There's a 10-minute video that Mark Moisier, election law attorney and specialist, put out that helps walk through the print your ballot at home and why that's nothing that we need to be worried about. Okay, that's not a problem, folks. Just put that worry aside and let's stay focused and get on to the next topic at hand. But I do want to say that something that you and Kent had talked about was you know what? Just roll with it, Mike.
Okay, I'm going to roll to a caller next. I'm going to roll to Sally from South Pasadena. Says, I screwed up my ballot. Now, how can I fix it? Sally, how are you doing?
Good, but before I talk about my mistake, I want to say something good. I don't know about you guys, but I did some research on the recall. I wanted to see what does the text in the Constitution say, and I just wanted to let people know. To look up the California State Constitution, you want to look for Article 2. And I would like to read just 2 sentences at the very beginning. I think that they call it the preamble or something.
Go for it.
Hold on. It's really cool, and it says why we have the recall is very democratic. Okay, this is what it says. All political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their protection, security, and benefit, and they have the right to alter or reform it when the public good may require.
Bless you. That is absolutely true. And in fact, that's, again, why the recall process by progressives was put in place and almost put in the U.S. Constitution, so the people have a voice. Listen, we've got about 2 minutes before we hit our next thing here.
Let me tell you about can I tell you my mistake?
Yes, that's what I want to
I've never made a mistake. I've never done mail-in ballot, but I filled in the wrong candidate circle. And I think I was going to ask, how do I fix it? But I think I'll just vote in person.
Exactly. You could go vote in person, or also at the bottom of your ballot, it says if you need a replacement ballot, but they don't say when they're going to send it to you. So if you go vote in person, Sally, you can make your decision on the spot. Thank you very much for reading that for us.
Sure.
Again, it's we the people. It's our state, as I keep
Mike,
saying.
I'd like to chime in as far as something that Kevin Kiley has championed so much.
Chime away,
And
boy.
In the Declaration of Independence that he cites so often is that the consent of the governed. We have not given our consent for sanctuary state status. We have not given our consent to so many things that are taking place in our government right now, that we have to take this action to remove this governor and return California back to a representative government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what this recall is
It's
about.
exactly what it's about for everybody out there. Listen, we're going to roll the break. We're going to come back to Norma Magdalena. Get your ballot in hand. Give us a call if you want. 1-800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. After we take some more callers, we have some very serious stuff we want to discuss about the lawsuit in federal court and also some other things going on in California. It's Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC. Stay tuned. We've got more to come.
Voter came in and they caught me red-handed, eating at the place next door.
Were there a lot of people there?
Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 people or more.
Huh.
ABC dependable traffic right now.
All right. Sorry to cut you off like that, Orrin, but we got to get back to the show.
Oh, you didn't cut me off, did you?
Well, when we left the last commercial, I had to.
And that's fine. If I go long-winded, then cut me off. I don't want to overinflate the balloon.
That's also some moderate slow going at
Of course.
And yes, that is correct, Heidi.
Four-level stall has
So
cleared.
I'm
Blocked for
Heidi,
traffic
what
still
did Heidi have to say?
Oh, asking if Prism is AKA moi.
back crash earlier in
Yeah.
San Fernando
Yes,
Valley.
it is.
Out of the 170 split. Two right lanes.
So,
blocked, traffic is slow.
there are
That's dependable traffic.
some-
It's your turn. It's James.
I'm getting messages from
If your
texts
family
from
depends
all
on your
around.
income and something happens
Susan
to you,
from Hesperia
happens to
says
them,
when they
you need life insurance.
surrender
And
their
Select
ballot,
can
they
help
need
you
to
get it
write
at a
in
price you can
surrender
afford.
or void across it or rip it up after they've received one in person. So,
Not in perfect
okay.
health. Don't worry.
Again, it's like treating it like a check. You want to avoid it.
And then I have Bianca is sending in
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential,
lots
American
of
General, and others
information.
to find you
I've
a
got
company with the best
50
rates.
text
Give your
messages that I
family
have
the
to go
security
through, but
they need at a
people
price
know how to
you can
call into the
afford.
radio show. They know how to comment here. This is where the comments need to come into, because I can't take time to look at my text feed or anything else during the show.
So
okay?
to find that video that we've been talking about, go to YouTube and search for Recall Gavin 2020 and look for our YouTube channel on there. And the video from Mark Moisier is on there. And it's a nice little 10-minute segment, and he will tell you all about the these print at home ballots.
And look for the video from Errol Weber for the
Yes.
100 reasons to recall Gavin Newsom.
And that is
That was
not
really
on our
good.
YouTube channel. That is on his own independent. So you just
Well,
go to
and
YouTube.
that's on it should be on our website, recallgavin2020.com.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Sonia. Go ahead.
No. I said that was good when he was talking about Errol Weber's
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that was good.
Because
All right,
apparently
just
when people
subscribe to Recall
click into the Zoom chat, they get booted from the Zoom and right to YouTube.
Hey, Sam. So Sam's on text right now. Sam,
Yeah.
can you maybe post that link to the comments
Oh,
here? so
we're back
people
on,
here
folks.
Can see it?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Back at you.
Welcome back, my friends, to the recall, which will end on September 14th. So we're talking about ballots and getting it in there. I want to go next to Norma from King City. You have your ballot with you, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What I want to ask you is, who is the first candidate that's listed?
James Henkin, Hanink.
Right. And you're going to, the reason I'm asking you, and thank you for going to get your ballot. Where's Kylie listed on your ballot, if I may ask? I'm picking Kylie at random.
Kevin Kiley. Norma, where are you from? King City. Got it. At least that's what the
It's
screen
just
says.
a little old town. It's not far from Salinas, California.
Oh, no, I've been to King City. I know exactly where it is. You're in a different
really?
county, but I do. The reason we're asking, because these candidates apparently are randomly chosen on the order that they're in and what they appear on the ballot. In other words, who's the first candidate on your ballot?
My first candidate is James G. Henkin, and Kevin Kiley is in the second row, and he's the fifth one down.
Got it.
Got it. And Norma, on mine, I've got Kevin Kiley as the first one. And then, let's see, it gets over, the last one is Chauncey Slim Killens.
Right. So what you're going to find, everybody, is that's why you need to pay attention. Again, everybody out there right now, grab your ballot, mark yes. Then you can go find the candidate that you want to vote for. But there's one thing I learned about today, and again, I'm out to kill a couple bad legends, if you will. You cannot see through the hole. Yes, you could open it up and you could probably poke through and apply a letter opener to it. No one can see how you vote. What you're seeing is a sample dot. So that video that's running around right now, no one can really see through that dot. Let's put that down. The second one, there are different versions by law of the ballot, and the versions aren't changing the yes and the no. It changes the order of the candidates. So it's different on each ballot. Get your ballot out and study it. Okay? Get your ballot out and study it. And make sure you put it in your envelope. If you have any problem with it, you could turn it any way you want so you're comfortable with it. But again, if you want to vote in person, go vote in person. Norma, thank you very much for calling in.
Question on voting in person. With all of the information in regards to all these bad ballot machines, are the machines safe? Because I do intend to go vote in person, but are the machines safe?
Norma, I'm going to tell you they're as safe as anything. And when you mail your ballot in anyway, I hate to break it to you, it's counted by a machine, right? So we want to make sure that your ballot gets in. And by the way, you can take a picture of your ballot, how you voted on it, and you get a receipt. So you can actually, with your, make sure that your vote's counted. So I'm going to
I'll have my daughter take a picture of my ballot.
Right. And you could even, you can publish your own ballot. No one can publish it for you. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So the machines are safe then?
I'm going to say that they're safe. Okay? Let's leave it at that. All right?
Okay.
Well, with a skeptical
tone. Okay? I'm not a programmer, but I'm going to tell you this. Right now, we can't stop the election.
It's all we got.
It's all we got, Norma. Okay?
And we have to have people vote. Now, and here's the point. This is Orrin Heatley talking. I'm the lead proponent for the Recall Gavin 2020.com team. I understand that.
He reintroduces himself every segment.
I'm not going to steer you wrong, okay? We've invested years of our lives into this. We've got it to where it is now, and we're monitoring everything that's taking place. But the fact is, we don't want people to be fearful of casting their vote. We don't want to give people an excuse not to cast a vote because they feel that their vote won't count. Okay, you have the media that's trying to sell the narrative that California is a deep blue state. Okay, I'm calling BS on that right now. California is not a deep blue state. That's the narrative that the media is pushing and pushing and pushing. And if you believe it's such a deep blue state, then people will become apathetic and they won't cast their vote. It's critical that you vote because California has proven time and time and time again, it has a deep red conservative backbone, and we have voted for conservative values time and time again. We need you to cast your vote. Don't let the narrative turn you away from submitting your ballot. People are
right now. I take an army to make sure that I didn't vote, so I'm most definitely going to vote. So hang in there, and I'm passing the word. You guys have a great evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless.
And Orrin, you talk about this being a red state. You know, this book I'd written last year called The Common Sense 80%. 80% of the people agree on over 90% of the same stuff. You've got your left-wing wackos, just like you've got far right-wing wackos. We have got a state full of wonderful people. I don't care if they identify as Democrats or Republicans. Yes, you got wackos on the fringes of both. This is a great state with great people. And this effort that you guys have done, you've drawn out some amazing Democrats to come and back this effort. And in this case, I don't think they're identifying as Democrats. In this case, I'm not identifying as a Republican. I'm identifying as somebody who loves this great state of California. So this is highly nonpartisan and backed by Republicans, Democrats, and independents.
Kent, I'd like to, just use an analogy that I paint the picture of what you're talking about. California, the voting population is a lot like a 2-lane road. There's the fog line, and we all exist within the fog line of each lane. There's one lane going one direction, the other lane going the other direction, but they're trying to paint us all in the fringe element that exists outside of those fog lines, on the shoulder, in the messy gravel. We're not. We are a great state. We have 2 clear lanes of traffic. We're going one way and the other way. But to your point, Kent, I totally agree with you.
And I'm going to tell you, in this statement, there's 2 statements in this the candidate statement thing. The first one that Newsom put out, he talks about it being a right-wing Trump supporting this and that. I've got friends of mine. Actually, I think she and her husband were the chair people of the Obama campaign back when he first ran in 2008. They are highly against this governor, and you don't get any more Democrat than them. They are smart people who see what's going on in this state. So the fact that that they're even trying to put it out there as a Republican thing or a Trump thing, it's just nonsense.
The key again is to vote yes. Hey, Orrin, I think this is as good a time as any to address a couple things. We'll get to these callers in a second. One is to address the case that's in federal court also. I want to take a second for everybody out there before we run out of time at tonight's show and say, if you're up in the wildfires in Northern California, our heart is really out to you. And for Doug Osee and his family, if you haven't heard, Doug had a heart attack. I just probably saw him a couple hours for that. He's going to be fine, but he's not actively campaigning. So prayers and hearts out to Doug Osee, for everybody up there in the Dixie Fire. Life is very, very tough. It would be much easier if Gavin wasn't our governor. But I want everybody to know that the recall movement definitely cares. And in fact, we're even involved in a movement to help some of the people. But Orrin, in a few minutes, can you detail this lawsuit that's been put in federal court this week?
We have been challenged in court for a couple of things with this recall. They challenged the extension. We've met those challenges and won each time. And we're being challenged one more time. This is a last ditch Hail Mary that the Gavin Newsom supporters have to try and get the courts, the liberal courts, to intervene on his behalf. And this is liberal. I don't want to talk about the judge himself, but the judge is a Obama appointed judge. And I would love to think that his loyalties go far beyond, who appointed him or his political beliefs. But here you have an Obama appointed judge that is going to hear a case where Shirley Weber, the Secretary of State, who is appointed to office by Gavin Newsom, is being sued, and the person who is going to defend the recall process is Rob Bonta, who is Gavin Newsom's appointed Attorney General. So you have a perfect storm welling up in front of us, where you have partisan politics playing itself out in the judicial system. And our teams are working on this. We are moving forward with, our legal defense and to protect not only this recall, but every other recall in California. Because if this case succeeds, they will overturn 110 years of California recall process, where we've had the right to recall and fire a government official who we didn't agree with, that went rogue like this governor has. Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, more importantly, it overturns the will of the people. Let's get real, okay? This recall's on the ballot. The ballots have gone out, and challenging a process at this point, which is basically, I'm going to go ahead and say it, a sham front by a couple attorneys that I think are sham attorneys. One, frankly, who just got his license back after being disbarred for a number of years. Here's the reality. Everybody's trying to get a chunk of the action right now. Everyone's trying to distract you with shiny objects. We ask for donations because we want to be prepared to go to court if we have to defend this, because we don't know what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to roll the break. We've got a lot more to talk to after this. Understand, do not be distracted by shiny objects. The recall team has been doing the heavy lifting. We will fight in federal court if we have to. But for everybody out there, go out there, vote yes, pay attention, get everyone to vote yes, pick the candidate of your choice. And more importantly, for the moment that we're in, it's Friday nights at the French Laundry. Recall Gavin, 2020.com. Please stay tuned.
Nice.
Could I forget that I had Bandolindo gatherings? Just a prime example of a really big hypocrisy.
Oh, wrong way. Anyway, so a question came up. So after September 14th, how long will Gavin be out of office or still in office? Is it an immediate process? Is it 32 days, 38 days? I'm seeing random things coming up on Facebook
It is,
as well as in
so
tonight's questions.
They will have 7 days to certify the election.
Okay.
10 days after that, the governor will be removed from office.
We're talking 2 weeks.
Yep.
Nice.
There may be some political wrangling. They may challenge the results of the election. They may go forward and go, oh, hold on, it's too close to call. I don't know. There's some crap that could happen in between. But what we have to stay focused on is, did we get enough votes? We have to keep people voting in the right direction. That's all. So
vote yes to recall Gavin Newsom out of office.
I have a question.
Right.
So
yes,
there's an elephant in the room kind of a thing where people are afraid to split the vote. What do you have to say to those?
Oh boy.
Well, there's no splitting the vote when it comes to recalling Gavin. That's just a yes.
It's a yes or no. And Gavin Newsom is not on question 2. And this is what this lawsuit is about right now.
Why would
so
he be
the lawsuit
on?
Says what?
Why would he be on to vote him back in when he's being recalled? It just doesn't make any sense.
And here's the crux of the lawsuit. Okay. They're saying that a minority of the voters could 12%, 20% could vote the next governor in, when this governor was put in office by 60+% of the voters. What we're saying is that a majority of the voters, if he's voted to be recalled, a majority of the voters will have cast their vote to fire him and remove him from office. Now, if he's included on question number 2, then a minority of the voters could, in fact, vote to keep him in office, overriding the majority vote to remove him.
Okay.
So that's where you get into the muddy water of politics in the system.
Yeah.
And that's where this federal lawsuit is going to go. And folks, just so you know, we are fighting hard and heavy. There are no less than 3 legal teams that are working on this case.
So, Orrin, if you can mention on the radio show to donate to recallgavin2020.com, because I know these legal processes do cost.
They are extremely expensive, and it has actually tapped us out for every dime that we have. And this may just be their tactic to bankrupt us, so we can't afford to put forward the advertisements that we want to. We have to, we're distracted on these legal expenses instead.
Yeah. So to answer a question for David, will there be another gubernatorial debate? Yes, there will be. That will be posted on some of our, well, that'll be posted on the 2021 gubernatorial page. Let's see, any other questions out there?
I wanted to let people know that I have an event coming up on August 25th, this Wednesday. A lot of great information and talking about the recall and everything. So anybody that wants to come out there, visit pffpac.com. Come see me.
Awesome. So repeat that again.
The website is pffpac.com, or they can go to patriots4freedom5.com. and click on events, and then they'll see the one coming up on August 25th. Old World in Huntington Beach.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we're back on.
Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California.
Sonia, put
with
both of
executive
those
chef
links in the
Orrin
comments
Heatley
before
and
Tim
Mater
mutes
D.
me
Mike
again.
Snetter.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're serving up ballots. Remember, I'm going to go to some callers this segment here, but remember, when you have questions, there's a voter guide. It is not a perfect system. But again, I'm going to keep saying this because Orrin and I are getting all kinds of calls. Don't pay attention to all the videos on the net. If you have to go to a voter center, if you want to go to a voter center, I recommend you do that. And turn in your ballot. Take your mail-in ballot, go turn it in, they'll give you a new one there. If you make a mistake, your voter bill of rights is in your guide. This is a singular election, okay? Vote yes, pick your candidate, encourage everybody else to vote yes. That's where energy needs to be devoted, which is exactly what Magdalena, for example, has done in San Francisco. She's out there hitting the streets, getting people to vote yes, right, Magdalena?
Yes, I am. How you doing, honey?
I'm doing all right.
Oh,
Fired
man,
up.
it's crazy out here. You know, what's happening here in San Francisco. London Bridge going nuts with all these rules. Anyway, you want to ask about the ballot, though, right? When I said it was on our ballot?
Yes, I do.
Well, I already voted, but I found our ballot, and it looks like there's all these Democratic candidates are first here. That's what happens. So, like, all the Democratic candidates, and they're listing by Democrat, Republican, everything else. So that's how they're listing it on our ballot. I checked our ballot because, I already mailed mine. I already put mine in.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing Democratic candidates first here.
Interesting. And
Yeah,
remember, there's different versions. So the ballot you have may not be the same everyone else has. Each county, apparently, we're learning more and more about this process. But you've already voted. You don't need to tell us who you voted for, but we know you voted yes. And we know you're spending your energy getting other people to vote yes, right?
Yes, I got some more flyers. So I'm going to put out some more. I got a whole box of flyers today. They sent me some. So I've been putting out flyers. I talked to San Franciscans because, I'm an outdoor dining again because I can't go indoor because I didn't get vaccinated. So I'm out here in the cold with the heat on here. But we're listening to KABC radio in San Francisco, live in front of Lemonade.
All right. Glad you are. Thank you for all you do. Remember, go to Magdalena Radio and
Magdalena Recall Radio.
Magdalena Recall Radio.
Radio. I'm on Twitter.
And on Twitter. Bless you. Thank you. I'm going to keep moving tonight. Thank you for all you do up in literally the streets of San Francisco.
You got it, babe.
All right, let's go to Santa Clara County. You have a question, I guess it's Pat. You have a question about how to vote in this election. Pat?
I think we lost Pat.
Santa Clara County Pat, going once. Oh.
Hello.
Pat.
Hello. Yes.
Restaurant to Pat, your table's up. Talk to us.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, then we have contact.
Okay. Yes. Okay. My main question is I got the mail-in ballot, which I'm going to fill out and take to the registrar's office. But on there, it says that we can fill out this ballot with a pen or pencil. Is the pencil option something new?
I think the option is they want it to be black. I don't know that what county you're in? Santa Clara, right?
Yeah, and it actually says, it's giving you the instructions. Now, on the ballot paper that I received, that it's the instructions, and then, of course, my actual ballot was a separate paper. So on the actual ballot that I have to mark yes, and then on the other side, who I want to replace Newsom, it says on vote by mail ballot, mark with pen or pencil. The use of blue or black ink is recommended, no red ink.
Interesting. Now, I don't have to read, is that in your voter guide? I will tell you that I obviously recommend using ink. And you know what's funny is, again, each individual county is different. Even within the counties, there's differences. But the reality is much of this verbiage hasn't been updated forever and a day. It might be new, it might be old.
Folks need to follow the instructions for their specific county. Folks, they give you very specific instructions. Don't deviate from that.
But
I'm not.
No, she's just asking. It says you can use a pen.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
But my concern
it should
is
say right there
why
on the ballot.
Yeah, why would they want you to use a pencil?
It's probably old. Here's what's great about the recall, Pat. It's and actually this, as I told Oren earlier in the week, it's exciting. People are arguing about candidates. It's exciting to go out to like the Sonia Green's meetings and see all these people here. And it's even exciting. I mean, Pat, let's be real. You probably haven't read a ballot guide this closely in a long time. You know what I mean? I sure haven't. Right?
No, I probably haven't.
So it might have been
what I was gonna.
So it's good that we're all paying attention to every little detail. So I don't have an answer for you, except I would recommend using a pen. Okay?
Definitely.
Thank you very, very much. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Let's go to Christy from Los Angeles, who says sample ballot and official ballot names are different. Hi, Christy.
Hi. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Heatley. And I'd also like to say a special thanks to my fellow Californians who also love our state, regardless of party, that we made this happen. And I'm really grateful. My longtime history voting name has been first name, full middle name, last name. The sample ballot came, it's first name, middle initial, last name. I haven't been able to get LA Vote on the phone. Do you have any suggestions?
I think what I would worry too much about your sample ballot, what you can do, what I recommend, I don't think you need to get them on the phone, but today, because there's online registration, I would look at the online. Have you moved or made any changes in years?
No.
Okay.
I did look, and it's full first name, full middle name.
Got it.
And last name.
I wouldn't worry too much about the sample ballot because it's the ballot itself which counts. If you want to change it, and I can't speak for their database, I could tell you that, I don't want to go too deep into it, but neither here nor there. It's the ballot that counts. Got it?
Okay.
And I can tell you that the voter registration database has 3 signatures and 3 names on file for each voter.
Mhm.
And they even dip into your credit card usage and your signatures with your credit applications and things like that. So if it's you and you know it's you, then that's what you have to go by.
Right.
Okay, I won't worry about it.
I
then.
wouldn't worry about it. And again, we were working off the voter registration base. And again, it's really great that you're paying attention. Right.
Let your heart not be troubled.
Wow, Orrin. By the way, Orrin, Pat just paid you a great compliment.
And you know what? Thank you so much, and God bless you.
You know, the cook in the kitchen sometimes is just so rude.
You know, thank you so much. I just want to say that Mike and I are 2 of the founding members of this recall movement. We may have begun this movement. We may have pushed it forward, but this is not a one-man show. This is not Mike and I. This movement has been driven forward by the women of California, the angry mama bears and the angry parents, fathers and moms who are pissed off at what this governor has done with their children in their schools, and they are hell bent for leather to make it right and stop this governor in his tracks, where he has put into the curriculum, you know, in our public school systems, and, you know, things that he's imposed on our families where
Orrin, okay, we got to go. Orrin, love you, buddy, but it's Friday nights at the French Laundry. We have 1 segment left. Everybody gets a final blast. Orrin went silent. Sometimes that's not too bad. But remember, it's Recall, Gavin2020.com. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote yes. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Prime example of a really big hypocrisy. You don't understand, we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us, we are the leaders. Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers.
Woo!
ABC dependable traffic right now, 210.
Oh, I feel bad. Warren was in the middle of a rant as well. I have no idea what happened. As he's looking at me going, what happened? I don't know. That's not on my end. I didn't do that one. It wasn't me. Well, come on, Warren, come back. Come back. I say unmute.
Rights have been shut down at the start of the connector road there.
Don't you mute me, Tim.
I wasn't me. You were on a rant too, man. And somehow it just went silent. And
I just lost the radio station for the last time tonight. I'm not even going to try and reconnect.
You have gremlins. We know this. You have gremlins. I'm convinced.
Huh?
You have gremlins. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's big tech. So where did I get cut off?
Right now, we're offering
Sonia?
Yeah. Wow, where were we? Oh, man.
I was on a roll, damn it.
You were really on a roll.
More than me.
That was really good. I think, were you talking about the 7 days, and if they get, and then 10 days after that, and then they can get into some, minutia if they want to challenge some things if it was too close. I know we were talking about
no,
that.
we didn't go that far back.
No. I'm trying to lead up to it.
Well, no, the mama bear is being really involved with the recall.
There you go. All I said was that Mike and I may have started the recall, but it's the angry mama bears that are pissed off, that have driven this thing forward, and it's the parents that want, talked about the sexual education curriculum and all that good stuff. But okay, then. Are they on break or what?
Yeah, we're still on break. Oh,
Yeah.
We're going back.
It doesn't matter. I'm still not connected to the freaking radio station. So
Welcome back.
Well, I gotta mute us.
The show's final segment. Again, we've been discussing
It's my job.
a lot of things tonight, but mainly focusing on ballots. I'm going to roll to
You're
Kent
the
and we
mute
kind of hit
Nazi.
our final segment, and then if we can get Orrin back, roll to him here. But again, I want to stress this, and I'm going to do this again at the end of the show. Let nothing stand in your way. Am I clear? Nothing. Stop being distracted by videos on the internet. Yes, there's things going on. There'll be people breaking in mailboxes. It happens every day. Take your mail-in ballot and don't mail it in. Go down. Vote in person. Do whatever you can to make sure that other people know to vote and vote yes. We're so distracted. Orrin, are you back?
I am. And, you know, whoever gave you control of the mute button, they're fired.
That was actually you, Orrin. You just fired yourself.
All right. Then I have the rest of the night free. So, folks, basically, I was just saying that Mike and I may have started this recall. We may have, you know, managed it to some extent. But it is the angry mama bears and the parents of the state that have driven it forward to where it is now, in protection of their parents and the future of their families.
That's right. And remember, everybody, we are here. We got it here. And you know what's really weird, Orrin? I'm going to say this. I think I've heard more complaining of troubles probably in the last 2 weeks, which of just little things. And God bless everybody who calls us, don't get me wrong. But again, folks, we're here. Again, I always say, if a year ago I had said we would have this on the ballot, have the polls about 50-50, have the ballot sitting in your hand to recall this yahoo of a governor, you would say, sounds pretty good. That's where we're at. Irene from Summerlin, Ken, before I roll to you, we've got Irene who works at the polls. This is going to be a great call. You work at the polls, so what are some of the things at the polls, Irene, that we might want to know? God bless you for calling in here.
Yes. If you make a mistake on the ballot, on the envelope, they have extra envelope sleeves, they call them, and like it's like, for instance, the lady whose husband wrote the today's date, except it didn't write his birth date, or the other way around. He could get a new envelope and then fill it out correctly. And then also a relative or anybody can bring in a ballot. And I think they changed the rules that you do not have to sign it, bring it in, but they change them. But it usually is the person bringing it in signs their name. So if it says that, sign your name, and of course the person that's voting signs their name, and they hand it to the person that's going to deliver it.
Do I have to bring in my mail-in ballot when I vote? Where at?
No, if you don't have your ballot or you left it in the car or you can't find it, you don't have to surrender it then.
Okay. But if somebody...
And then you can also use your ballot and vote there in person and just use your ballot rather than get a new one.
That, I think, answers a lot of questions. Irene, thank you for that. If anybody else has any other questions, look, again, we're not meant to be the voter information center. But I'm going to say this again. If you really think about it, what you're doing now is paying attention to a democratic process that you've taken for granted. There was so much controversy last election. This election, with this singular issue, vote yes, pick another candidate, has your attention. You're reading the fine print, as we say. Just like when you buy a house or you buy a car, pay attention to the fine print, pay attention to your democratic process. Kent, as we start to roll towards the end, I'm going to roll to you. You haven't had much of a chance to yap tonight.
You know what? I've been learning a lot just about this election process here in California. It's complicated, and they do it on purpose. They actually do make it complicated on purpose. We don't have this nonsense in Tennessee, but they do make it very difficult here. First of all, I've said this a couple of times on this show. I'm going to say it again. You and Orrin are very humble. You've taken the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and the suffering of 40 million people in this state and done something about it. And I know that when you guys started this, the consultants, these hack consultants told you it could never be done. You'll never get the signatures. It'll cost you $50 million just to try. You two got together and said, you know what? I got a friend. You got a friend. They got friends. They got friends. You put 22,000 people together as volunteers. And all you guys joined up and you guys did this. And this is monumental. This is really big. And you've given us an opportunity as voters and as residents of California to actually start turning this state around. I came here in the mid-90s, but I want to go back to that. I want to go back to where we could open businesses. We could not be regulated to death. We weren't tempted to move businesses out of the state, which we have done. We want to move them back. We want to come back.
That was a great way, a segue to say we're so blessed to have Michael Reagan on the show tonight. Just to remind us that the people in California haven't changed. It's the government which changed and the way that we view it. And I also want to go on record, Kent, and be very, very clear about something. When I met Orrin, I didn't have any friends. Orrin, that's a good segue to roll to you here.
Before we do that, can I do two quick things, or two fast things? One, the seat that I'm sitting in is usually occupied by Eric Early, our Attorney General in waiting, whose birthday it is today. I want to wish him a great birthday. If you see Eric Early, tell him he doesn't look a day over 80. If you happen to see him out there, I'm not saying he's 80, but just tell him that just to make you feel good. The other thing, too, is you guys never do this. It's like an altar call at church. To make this thing happen, to keep this thing going, we're coming into the final weeks. I know that Recall Gavin 2020 has got to have money. So do what I do. If you're listening, go to recallgavin2020.com and give a few bucks, $25, $50, $100. But you know what? Look what these guys, the miracle these guys have pulled off with almost nothing. And let's keep this thing going. We're right in the home stretch. Orrin?
I just have to say that, great people are born on like days. And my wife's birthday is today. And I am spending her birthday out here with you folks because this is important. And, I'm bouncing back and forth to her party and gathering with the folks that are at my house. I am outdoors in my makeshift studio right now because it's her birthday that's taking place inside my house in my studio as we speak. But God bless both my children. Clifton and Sammy are born on my birthday a year apart, and God bless them as well. You know what, folks? This is, thank you, Kent, for your kind words. This is a do or die moment. This is David and Goliath movement here in California. And, we can't take our eye off the goal, and that is to get this governor out of office. And win, lose, or draw, we have done what it takes to get this governor out of office, but he will never be president on my watch.
Absolutely. And for everybody out there, let's be clear. Okay? What we've done in the recall is empowered the people, and that's what the process was designed to do. And if I could paraphrase John Kennedy, yes, a Democrat, for a second, don't ask what the recall can do for you. Just go do it. Okay? You don't need our permission to make phone calls. Oh, can I distribute signs? Don't just go do it. It's on the ballot, all right? It was different during the signature process slightly. But for everybody out there, this is a really simple. You have a ballot. You are voting yes. You need to turn the ballot in. You need to pick a candidate, okay? And for those
get off your ass and participate.
Get off your ass and participate.
And actually, you know what? Be a part of history. This actually is a historic recall. There's never been a movement this big. I don't believe in the country, has there?
No, there never has been. We've said it before. But everybody out there, stop being distracted by shiny objects. To take your state back, it will be one vote at a time, and you must vote. If you don't vote, it won't matter. If you don't tell your neighbors to get off their ass and go vote, it won't matter. We must take our state back, and we do have, you're right, Kent, a historic chance to do this. It's here. It's not coming soon. The ballot is in your hand. Go find your polling place. Go do what you have to do. Harvesting, you heard the Irene that called in. That's just gathering other people's ballots. Do what you have to do. You don't need to call in. You don't need to find permission. It's your damn state. It's your damn ballot. Go do something about it. The door's kicked down. It's your turn to flow through that door and take your state back by voting and voting yes and doing what you could do over the next 3.5 weeks to make sure that we get Newsom out of office. I can't
now or
be any
never.
clearer. It is now or never. It's not even, it's now. Friday nights at the French Laundry. Contribute if you can to recallgavin2020.com. We'll be here next week. We'll be everywhere. God bless California. Bless the people in the fires. Bless everybody out there. But take your state back. Vote yes. Friday nights at the French Laundry. We'll see you next Friday night.
Just tell them it's important to follow all the law. How any violation might kill a grandma. Why you do what you want, even part.
This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee, California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020. Number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom. Call 39 LLC, BGB Ranch.
So speaking of shiny objects, I'm going to suggest do not use pencil.
And there you go.
So don't use pencil. Pencil.
No
is
pencil,
a-
no Sharpies, no
Pencil-
Sharpies.
Make sure that
Pencil
I've
is
got
made
you
out of
guys unmuted.
graphite, and
Oh, there
graphite
we
is
go.
a
Now I can
metal.
hear you.
And graphite is a electrical conductor. So, and it's also shiny. So don't use that shiny object called a pencil.
There you go. You're right.
It will.
right,
it
folks.
is reflective. So
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
no Sharpies. Someone asked a question about Sharpies. No Sharpies.
Oh, I know that you use a Sharpie, it'll bleed through to the next side and cast a vote for the candidate that's on the other side of the paper.
There
So,
you go.
Yep. Sonia, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
I would love to have you as a regular guest. Tim, thank you
Yeah.
for hosting and being the producer. This show does get over 1,000 views over the next week. So God bless everybody that chimes in and watches us after the fact. I'm sorry we couldn't do better.
You did great.
with all the gremlins, we did all right.
You know what? I'm just gonna show. Hold on now. This is incredible because I
thought you were
I
barbecuing a turkey back there.
you know what? Literally, okay, so I'm in my backyard. As humble as it gets. I have clamp lights, shop lights up for lighting. This is all I got.
See,
I buy a boat that doesn't run. It hasn't run since I bought the damn thing. It's a boat is something put another 1,000 or whatever. Anyway,
so yeah, because
that's
everything.
where I am. I'm just sitting out in the yard, and it is raining down ashes on me as we speak. It's so cloudy here. I don't know if you can see how cloudy it is with the lights around me. It looks like a haze. That's because I'm in the smoke.
Yeah.
And I keep blowing off the keyboard and the screen on the computer so I can see it.
We were like that last year in this area. It was about 25 miles bird's eye view from the fire that happened in Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. And you know what? The great thing is this year, right here, right now, we're not out asking people to get out in this crap to go gather signatures.
Right.
We're past that.
So those in Plumas County are asked to go to the post office in Quincy to cast your vote.
Okay.
That was also mentioned on our town hall meeting.
Yes, it was. Cool. Sonia, God bless.
Sonia, one more time, how can people get in touch with you to go to your rallies?
All right. Visit www.p as in Paul, F as in Frank, PAC.com. That stands for Patriots for Freedom. Patriots for Freedom.com. So, and then the website, long version is patriotsforfreedom5.com. The easiest way is pffpac.com. Hit me up. Come see me. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And Oren, there's a couple of
Absolutely.
messages saying happy birthday to your wife. You're on the on the Facebook feed.
She would be really upset to know that I shared that with online.
Well, you did, whether she
Hey,
likes
she's
it
a
or not.
Virgo, huh? I'm a Virgo too.
You're what?
She's a Virgo.
You're a Virgo?
Huh? I'm a Virgo.
Yep.
Mine's August 31st. So you guys gotta.
That's
we
one of
gotta
my
get
brother's
together.
birthdays.
Oh boy. All right, you guys. God
All right.
bless everybody. Prayers for California.
Yes.
Prayers for our
Amen.
future. And let's stick together and join forces and make this thing happen.
Amen.
Let's do it.
All right.
All
Have
right.
a good night, folks.
Ciao. Good night.
Good night.